Police, open the door. Now.
Why are you here? What's going on?
Open the door right now or you're going to jail.
I haven't done anything wrong.
Inside apartment 214, Alyssa Monroe woke up instantly. Her phone screen lit up the room, 11:47 p.m. She had been asleep for less than 2 hours. Another knock followed, harder this time. "If you don't open this door right now, you're going to be arrested." The doorbell camera above her front door was already recording, and the officer standing in the hallway had no idea that the next 12 minutes of footage would end his career, trigger a federal lawsuit, and become required training material inside his own department. Because nothing about this encounter was legal, and the camera caught every second. Before we go any further, drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. City, state, country, wherever you are. And if you believe authority only works when it's accountable, make sure you're subscribed. This story escalates fast, and the ending matters. A normal night until it wasn't. Alyssa Monroe was 38 years old. She worked as a respiratory therapist at Mount Carmel St. Anne's Hospital, rotating overnight shifts and 12-hour days. Exhaustion was part of the job. That Thursday night, she got home around 9:10 p.m. She reheated leftovers, set her phone to silent, laid out scrubs for the morning, and fell asleep by 9:45. No television, no music, no guests. At 11:47, the pounding started. Not a neighbor, not maintenance, police. Alyssa's heart rate spiked. Anyone who lives alone knows that sound. It doesn't feel like curiosity, it feels like danger. She got out of bed slowly and walked to the door. Through the peephole, she saw a uniformed officer standing square to her apartment, feet planted, hand near his belt. Something felt off immediately. Instead of opening the door, she spoke through it. "What's this about?" The officer didn't answer. "Open the door now." Alyssa stayed calm. "I'm asking why you're here." "We received a disturbance complaint. You need to step outside." That made no sense. "I've been asleep," she said. "What disturbance?" The officer stepped closer. "This is your last warning. Open the door or you're going to jail for obstruction." That sentence would later appear in a federal complaint and form the core of what followed. The camera comes on. 6 months earlier, Alyssa's sister had insisted she install a doorbell camera. "You live alone," she said, "just in case." Alyssa opened the app. The live feed showed the officer clearly. His name, Officer Mark Ellison. Badge number 4421. Westerville Police Department. His posture was tense, impatient. His finger tapped against his duty belt. Alyssa raised her phone so the microphone could capture everything. "Officer," she said evenly, "I'm not refusing to cooperate. I just need to understand why you're here." "You're being loud," Ellison replied. "We got a noise complaint." "There's no noise," Alyssa said. "I've been asleep." "Open the door." "Who made the complaint?" Ellison didn't answer. He knocked again, harder. Alyssa felt the pressure rising. This was the moment many people give in, not because they're guilty, but because they want the situation to end. She remembered advice from a coworker who'd been through a bad police encounter years earlier. If something feels wrong, slow it down and document everything. Alyssa tapped record. Threats without explanation. Ellison checked his watch. "You have 5 seconds." "For what?" Ellison asked. 4. "What law am I breaking?" 3. "Officer, please explain." 2. Alyssa interrupted him. "I'm calling 911. Ellison paused. The camera caught it. She dialed. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Alyssa Monroe. I'm at the Pine Ridge Apartments in Westerville. There's an officer at my door threatening to arrest me, but he won't explain why. I've been asleep. Can you confirm whether there's an active call at my address?" Ellison stepped back slightly. The camera caught it. The dispatcher put her on hold briefly. When she returned, her voice was cautious. "Ma'am, I don't see any disturbance calls for your address tonight." Alyssa swallowed. "Can you verify the officer's identity?" "I'll need you to ask him for his name and badge number." Alyssa relayed the request through the door. There was a long silence. Then, reluctantly, "Officer Mark Ellison, badge 4421. Alyssa repeated it to dispatch. Another pause. "Ma'am," the dispatcher said carefully, "Officer Ellison is not assigned to this beat tonight." That was the moment everything changed. The retreat. Alyssa stayed on the line. "Can you send a supervisor?" she asked. "Yes," the dispatcher said. "Units are en route. Do not open the door." From the doorbell camera, Alyssa watched Ellison shift his weight again. He spoke quietly into his radio. Then he turned and walked down the hallway without another word. The camera followed him the entire way. At 11:59 p.m., 2 patrol cars entered the parking lot. At 12:04 a.m., a knock returned, controlled, professional. "Ms. Monroe, this is Sergeant David Klein with Westerville Police." Alyssa checked the camera. Multiple officers, calm posture, no hands near weapons. She opened the door. Sergeant Klein immediately apologized. "We're going to need to talk, and we'd like to see any recordings you have." Alyssa handed him her phone. The footage played. No one spoke. What the footage showed. The video clearly showed threats of arrest without a stated crime, refusal to explain the complaint, escalation where none was warranted, misrepresentation of police authority. Sergeant Klein watched the footage twice. Then he asked a key question. "Has this officer ever contacted you before?" Alyssa hesitated. "No, but this isn't the first late-night police knock I've had that didn't make sense." That statement triggered an internal affairs notification before sunrise. A pattern emerged. Officer Mark Ellison had been with the department for 11 years. No major commendations, no prior suspensions. But when Internal Affairs reviewed his record, something stood out. Over the previous 18 months, Ellison had conducted an unusually high number of late-night knock and talks. Most involved single residents, vague or undocumented complaints, no corresponding dispatch records. 2 prior informal complaints existed. Neither had gone anywhere, until now. The lawsuit. Alyssa didn't go to social media. She contacted a civil rights attorney. On November 6, 2023, a federal lawsuit was filed in the Southern District of Ohio. The claims included violation of Fourth Amendment rights, unlawful threat of arrest, abuse of authority, failure to supervise. The city reviewed the footage. Their conclusion was blunt. This case is indefensible. Before depositions began, the city requested mediation. Consequences. Officer Ellison was placed on administrative leave on October 20th, suspended on November 2nd, terminated on December 14th, 2023. The termination letter cited conduct unbecoming, misuse of authority, violation of constitutional policing standards. His appeal was denied. The settlement, finalized in March 2024, totaled $525,000. Department reforms followed. All late-night knock and talks required documented dispatch calls. Supervisor approval after 10 p.m. Mandatory body cam activation before any command. The footage is now used in academy training. Why this story matters. Alyssa didn't argue, she didn't yell, she didn't open the door. She asked questions, she documented everything, she slowed the situation down. And because she did, a pattern was exposed, accountability followed, and policy changed. So here's the question. If a police officer showed up at your door at midnight and refused to explain why, would you open it? Drop your answer in the comments. And if stories like this matter to you, make sure you're subscribed. We'll keep telling them, because accountability doesn't happen in the dark. It happens on camera.